Little black girl points at judge and says, "You killed my mum." Courtroom falls silent. The courtroom was unusually still. A tense, expectant silence settled over the space, broken only by the rustle of papers and the occasional clearing of a throat. People shifted uncomfortably in their seats, but their eyes remained locked on the child sitting at the witness stand. A little black girl no older than 7, her tiny hands clutching the edge of the chair, her brown eyes filled with something far too heavy for her age. Judge Thomas Whitmore, a stern-faced man in his early 60s, adjusted his glasses and looked down at the child with a mix of curiosity and detachment. His reputation was one of strict adherence to the law, fair but unyielding. He had seen many cases in his decades on the bench, but something about this girl unsettled him. The case was about her future. Aaliyah Carter, a child caught in the crossfire of a legal battle over custody. The state argued that she had no remaining family fit to care for her, pushing for placement in foster care. But her uncle, Darius Carter, sat at the defense table, fighting to take her in despite past legal troubles. As the lawyer finished his preliminary questions, the judge leaned forward, his deep voice breaking the silence. "Aaliyah, do you understand why you're here today?" She nodded, her braids swaying slightly as she gripped the arms of the chair. "Yes, sir." "Good," he said, his tone softer than usual. "Can you tell us what you think would be best for you?" The room held its breath, waiting for her answer. She hesitated, then spoke, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. "I just want my mommy back." A ripple of sorrow moved through the audience. Some lowered their eyes. Others watched with bated breath, wondering what the judge would say to that. Judge Whitmore's jaw tightened. "I'm very sorry for your loss, Aaliyah," he said carefully. "But we're here to make sure you're safe and taken care of." Aaliyah stared at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she raised her hand and pointed directly at him. "You killed my mom." The courtroom froze. Gasps echoed from every corner. Lawyers turned to each other in shock. The court reporter's fingers hovered motionless over the keyboard. Even the bailiff, an officer built like a linebacker, shifted uncomfortably, his hand instinctively resting on his belt. Judge Whitmore's face drained of color. His mouth opened slightly, but no words came. Aaliyah's voice, though small, rang out clear and unwavering. "You sent my mommy to jail. She said you didn't listen to her. She told me you didn't care. And now she's gone." Darius Carter shot to his feet, his attorney placing a warning hand on his shoulder, but his eyes burned with fury. "Your Honor, my niece has a right to be heard." The judge swallowed, his hands gripping the edge of his bench. He had been a judge for over 3 decades, but never had he been accused, by a child no less, of something so grave. "Aaliyah," he began, his voice carefully measured, "I don't. She died in that place." Aaliyah interrupted, her voice trembling now but still steady. She kept saying she needed help, but nobody helped her. Tears welled in her eyes. "She begged you, didn't she?" Judge Whitmore sat frozen, the past clawing its way into the present. He remembered 3 years ago, a case involving Kendra Carter, a single mother arrested for theft. She had stolen diapers and baby formula, items for Aaliyah. But the law was the law, and she had prior offenses. He had sentenced her to 3 years in prison. He hadn't thought much about her case afterward. Until now. Darius stood, his voice shaking with barely controlled anger. "My sister was sick. She had a heart condition. She kept telling the prison doctor something was wrong, but they ignored her. She died in that cell, Judge. And now her daughter is sitting here, looking you in the eye, telling you exactly what happened. And you're just going to sit there?" The murmurs in the courtroom grew louder, rising into a hum of tension. Judge Whitmore's mind raced. He had made thousands of rulings in his career, but he had never thought about the ones who suffered beyond the sentencing. He looked at Aaliyah. She wasn't accusing him out of spite. She was just a little girl who had lost her mother. A little girl who wanted someone, anyone, to take responsibility. The judge's hands trembled slightly as he gripped the bench. He took a deep breath, then turned to the state attorney. This case needs to be reviewed. The attorney blinked. Your Honor. You heard me, Whitmore said, his voice firmer now. We're not making any decisions today. This is bigger than a custody hearing. The tension in the room thickened. The gavel had not yet fallen, but the shift in the air was undeniable. Aaliyah Carter had spoken her truth, and for the first time in his long career, Judge Whitmore felt the weight of a decision he could not ignore. Because this wasn't just another case. It was a reckoning. The story doesn't end here. Some decisions haunt us long after the courtroom doors close. Justice isn't always blind. Sometimes it just refuses to see. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories that need to be told.